is going to present, and the next three questions I'll present. So, welcome to Narsimha Chaturdashi and happy Narsimha Chaturdashi to all. So, this is the topics which we are going to cover. So, Srirang, you can start.
Yes. The first question is, what was Hiranyakashipu's original form? Actually, we all know that Hiranyakashipu was one of the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, Jai Vijaya, and that four Kumaras had cursed both Jaya and Vijaya that they would appear on the material world and be a part of Lord's pastimes. And it so happened that the four Kumaras they wanted to visit Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha, and when they were entering, the gatekeepers Jaya and Vijaya they stopped them and they restricted them and said that kids are not allowed in Vaikuntha. This act of the gatekeeper Jayavijay angered the four Kumaras, and hence they cursed both of them that they would appear seven times on the material world and as demons or as villains in the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And could you? Oh yes. So the another great question is, why was Hiranyakashipu envious towards Vishnu? One of the great reasons is that Hiranyakashipu naturally wanted to be the greatest of all. He wanted to be the king of the emperor of the whole universe, and hence it is obvious that because Lord Vishnu is already the greatest, then he will be envious. He is envious that Lord Vishnu is greater than him. And another reason is that Lord Vishnu he appeared as Varahade and killed Hiranyaksha, and this angered Hiranyakashipu, and what this made him grow his envy towards Lord Vishnu, and also that he felt that Lord Vishnu became partial to the Devtas, and he while addressing his fellow army soldiers, Hiranyakashipu had said that Lord Vishnu is acting uh, a childlike person who is bended towards one side and who is not neutral to the both of the sides. And then these all things increased Hiranyakashipu's envy towards the Lord. Yes.
Srirang,
How Hiranyakashipu got his powers. He knew Hiranyakashipu obviously needed some powers, in and he wanted to be immortal. So in order to achieve his ambition, Hiranyakashipu went to the Mandara mountains, and there he stood and he started a severe type of austerities. And after 100 celestial years, when Brahma had appeared, Brahma he was pleased with Hiranyakashipu's uh, austerity. When Brahma had appeared, he did not see where was Hiranyakashipu because Hiranyakashipu was covered with anthills and bamboo sticks. So after searching for a bit for Hiranyakashipu, Lord Brahma found that Hiranyakashipu was under an anthill, and we often hear that Lord Brahma went alone to see Hiranyakashipu, but in Bhagavatam it is written that Lord Brahma had visited Hiranyakashipu with personalities like Daksha and Bhrigumuni. Uh, so, uh, uh, Yes. There after Lord Brahma appeared there, he sang. After Lord Brahma appeared there, he poured some water from his from his pot, some spiritual and purifying water, and then Hiranyakashipu was enlivened, cause before he was half dead. and it seemed like Hiranyakashipu wasn't alive, cause his body, his skin was devoured by the ants, and his blood was sucked by the worms. So when Lord Brahma enlivened him, Hiranyakashipu invoked his flattering voice, and he pleased Lord Brahma with his prayers, offerings, and he paid obeisances unto Brahma. And then when Brahma was pleased, Brahma asked for any benedictions he wanted. And we all know that there was a long before Hiranyakashipu asked that he wanted to be immortal, but Brahma said that he himself is not immortal, so how could he grant Hiranyakashipu the benediction to be immortal? Hence, Hiranyakashipu created a long list in order to get himself immortality. He said that he couldn't be killed by any living entity, nor by any non-living thing. He couldn't be killed in the night nor in the day. He couldn't be killed not in the land nor in the air. He couldn't be killed with any weapon, and he could not be killed inside his house nor outside. He could not be killed covered or uncovered. And Hiranyakashipu also asked for the Ashta yogic siddhis like Anima Lakima. So uh, after asking for this, it's obvious that Lord Brahma granted him the wishes, and now Hiranyakashipu went back to his kingdom.
So the next question arises that what did Hiranyakashipu do next? So he got the powers. So usually when water is poured on a slope, then it goes down. So even the same thing happened here. If the energy is given, the tendency is to misuse it. So the same way Hiranyakashipu, he misused his energy. He got envious of Lord Vishnu, and as Srirang has stated how he got envious. He got envious, and after the austerities, when he came home, he gave birth to a baby who is known as Prahlad Maharaj. So he'll come afterwards. So after that baby had come, he thought that he will conquer again and he'll do some more trouble. But anyways, that's not our topic. So then, after getting the power, he started troubling and terrorizing the universe, as you see over here. So, in this way, he had started troubling everyone, and he took each and every person under his control, except his mind, that is there only. So, he took each and every person under his control. So in this way, he was misusing his power. And then how did Hiranyakashipu behave? This is another topic. That once when Hiranyaksha was killed by Varaha, at that time the relatives of Hiranyaksha, as stated in Bhagavatam, they were crying, and they were in lamentation that Hiranyaksha has died. So Hiranyakashipu, as a relative, he went over there and he started consoling them, and that too with duplicity. So he in Bhagavatam it is stated that he was saying the full philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. He was not applying it, but he said almost the full philosophy of Bhagavad Gita so nicely, but still he didn't follow it. So controversies in his speech were there. So in this way, we learn that we should not have controversies in our speech, and we should be straightforward and having a straight mentality. As it stated that our BMW should be in one line, actions, mind, and words. So in this way, also it is stated that achar prachar in bhakti. So we should first apply it and then we can preach it. Here, Hiranyakashipu is directly preaching it, so there is no use of that. Still, something had happened. So now we'll move to the next this thing. So now comes the lessons from Hiranyakashipu's life. So one lesson which we learn is that Hiranyakashipu, what he had lust for conquering the whole world, whole universe. So what does lust do, Mr. Lust? It, if it is fulfilled, then it gives greed, and it says I want more. Somehow I want more. And if it is not fulfilled, then it gives anger, which is one letter less than danger. So in this way, and what happens next? The greed again gives lust. So this is what happened with Hiranyakashipu. And what does anger give? Krodhat bhavati sammoha, as we see in Bhagavad Gita. So now the highlighted three red colors, what are they? They are the three gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed. So in this way, this is one lesson which we can learn from Hiranyakashipu's life. And also another one, like this pie chart shows that everything except Prahlad was in Hiranyakashipu's control. Actually, what he did was wrong, but still he could be happy that what everything was there. But still he wanted to conquer 100%, even 1% he didn't want to leave. So Prahlad Maharaj, he was just a 5-year-old innocent child. Still he couldn't conquer because of Krishna's energy and like that. So in this way, we conclude the story of Hiranyakashipu over here. And happy Narasimha Chaturdashi to all once again. And thank you very much. Done, Prav.
Hari Bol, so beautiful. How did you